Yeah, follow. Very much. You can continue.
Well, this is the first video.
इसको 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 मिनिमाइज करो अभी नहीं, जब चलेगा तब चलो ना. Good afternoon to all the attendees to this first thematic session, in fact, parallel thematic session, which we are holding on the 80th Foundation Day of Central Water Commission. My name is Devendra Pratap Mathuria. I'm Chief Engineer, Central Water Commission, and I'm privileged to take this thematic session forward, which is on a very interesting topic, and which probably, in fact, most of us are engineers, and probably we are not aware or less aware as to what has been Dr. Ambedkar's contribution to the water sector in India, both historic as well as how his ideas and vision is important and relevant in the present context. So we have a very renowned and a very esteemed panel today. The panel shall be carrying forward this discussion. So I invite our esteemed panelist for the day, Professor Dr. Sashmi Nayak. She is Chair Professor, Ambedkar Foundation, and based at Bhubaneswar. Madam, please occupy the dais. I also invite our esteemed Chairman, Dr. M.K. Sinha, Chairman, Central Water Commission, and Member Design and Research, Mr. Bhupal Singh, Mr. Anil Chamadia, who is Senior Journalist. Sir, please join us on the dais so that we can formally start the session. As I was saying, the session and the panelists will look into the legacy of Dr. and Bharat Ratna Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, whose multifaceted ideas both on socio-economic inclusion, which we just heard during the inaugural addresses, as well as his legal understanding, to ground those ideas through both constitutional provisions as well as through institution building, has been in fact a blessing for this country. So without taking much time, I'll invite our member Design and Research, Mr. Bhupal Singh, who shall be presenting the context for the today's session, and he will guide what are the issues that we propose to discuss and deliberate during the session. Sir, please, sir, the dais is yours.
Thank you, Mathuria ji. Dignitaries on the dais, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first greet all of you celebrating 80th Foundation Day of Central Water Commission. Uh, uh, what I feel today, all of us feel so proud being part of this prestigious organization. This has played a stellar role in the development and management of water sources in the country, uh, transforming India into a food surplus country and also contributing significantly in the energy security. We all know water is one of the key drivers for the socio-economic development of any region. ये कहावत है बस पानी पहुंचा दो वहां का डेवलपमेंट अपने आप हो जाएगा. So this journey or this development has been the outcome of visionary leadership and policies of Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, who made a significant contribution to India's water sector, establishing fundamental policies and institutions that continues to shape the water sector even today. When we are celebrating the Foundation Day of the organizations which are founded by a great visionary, there cannot be an apt tribute to the visionary leader, Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, than having a session on Dr. Ambedkar contribution to water sector in India. We have very eminent speaker, Professor Sasmi Nayak, Ambedkar Chair Professor, who will be the keynote speaker. And then we have Dr. M.K. Sinha, Chairman, Central Water Commission, and Anil Chamadia ji, who is a senior journalist. So there's a wide variety of speakers in these sessions who will be speaking on the subject matter. And this session is going to be very interesting and thought-provoking. Session is being coordinated by Mathuria ji. I will not speak much. Basically, subject matter is already there. We are celebrating the contribution of Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar ji in the water sector. And three speakers will deliberate on the aspect purposefully and in more in detail. However, I would like to stress here that journey of this organization has been so far so good. We have done remarkably well. Secretary Madam was also pointing out in her opening address. We have done very well. But what we water sector has already become full of challenges. And in coming years, more and more challenges are coming. And so will be our task. So will be our journey. So basically, we need to evolve. We need to innovate continuously to keep ourselves relevant and contribute in the water sector continuously. And a lot of expectations, as Secretary Madam was pointing out in her opening address in the morning. We need to develop our capacity in all gamut of water sources management. There are few areas which I feel we are already working, but we can focus more. What I feel is one is basically we have been discussing this since long. Integrated planning and management at basin scale or sub-basin level. River Basin Management Act is there. Hope that will see the light of the day soon. But even without waiting that, there are many activities, many tasks, and we can do as a premium organizations. We can basically we can align ourselves on the line of basin organizations, and maybe some strengthening will be required here and there. collecting data required. Of course, many of data are being collected by us and some other agencies also. So we have to put a platform for collating and compiling the data required for the basin management, and then do the modeling that we can do. Of course, a number of modeling in number of basins have been carried out, but not in a structured way. And then maybe start generating scenarios and advise the stakeholders, states. So this is one activity which I'm not talking about issues in the water sector, issues where as a organization, Central Water Commission should basically strengthen and develop the capacity. This is one area. Next area is basically assessing health and efficacy of our water infrastructure. Uh, Basically, their dams, distribution systems. Already for dam safety, National Dam Safety Act has come, and now it is more compelling to take care of the safety of the dam. So basically, this is the one area, because here the capacity of the stakeholders, states, is very limited. We have to support them in doing the health assessment, because that is also a different areas. Planning and designing the different areas, and then assessing the health, what are the issues, instrumentation and earthquake analysis, hydrological sufficiency, the many issues. So assessing the health and then taking the rehabilitation measures. So here also we need to enhance our capacity and capability. Maybe because task is enormous, maybe we have to go for basically aligning with the other organization also. So we have to think about that. In dam also, silt management is also one critical issues. We have been working under drip, but also we have to find a viable solution for that. Then in distribution system, what I've seen that slowly and slowly the capacity of the state, finances required, manpower required, is diminishing. And we are not able to maintain in a better shape and delivering the basically desired task for which this project was evolved. So maybe we need to develop a framework so that public-private partnership can be evolved. This is one area, like distribution of electricity system, electricity in this one. In this area also, this private participants should be encouraged. And here we have to basically evolve the policies, framework, so that maybe some come out with some scheme also in coming years, this one. So this is one area. One more area, basically, we have to be multidisciplinary, as what pointed out by Secretary Madam also, like river health assessment, e-flow management in river, that is one area we need to focus. We are working also in some of the rivers. Ganga Basin also, e-flow framework was done by Central Water Commission, but the task is enormous. So we need to evolve and enhance our capacity. Then basically this, because of the climate change, variability in the climate, no, we have to come out with medium and short-term stream flow forecast system. Yeah, flood forecast system is already there, but maybe 15 days or 1 week or even months together, that also need to be evolved, and we can collaborate with other agencies also. This is one area. And basically, lastly, though we are not directly involved, but we also basically contribute to the framework, basically resolving the interstate issues. This is one area where development of the infrastructure is dampening. We are not able to take the decisions quickly, and our projects keep on hampering since long. So these are the few areas where our organizations should basically evolve, and maybe we need to enhance our capacity. So I will stop here. Our session is going to be very interesting, and you will be announcing? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for very thought-provoking address. Now I'll invite our keynote speaker for the day, Professor Dr. Sashmi Nayak, who is Ambedkar Chair Professor at National Institute of Social Work and Social Sciences in Bhubaneswar. This chair has been instituted by Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment to confront cutting-edge research on contemporary issues with Ambedkar ideas. As her own interest, she explores the relevance of Ambedkar ideas to the discipline of social work and engage with socially excluded and marginalized sections of society. She is a political science graduate from Lady Shri Ram College for Women in Delhi University, did her MA in social work from Delhi School of Social Work, did another MA in human rights from Institute of Commonwealth Studies in London, PhD in social exclusion and education, very learned, very eminent. We got to hear her more on her ideas. Ma'am, please.
So thank you so much for the introduction and a very good morning to all of you. The chairman of CWC, Dr. Mukesh Kumar Sinha, Shri Bhopal Singh, Shri Anil Chamadia, and Shri Mathuria, all of you, congratulations on this Jubilee, 80th Jubilee of the Central Water Commission. And I think it's a momentous milestone. And I'm happy to join in this celebration. I'm indeed humbled and grateful to have been invited today to deliver the keynote address on the thematic session on Ambedkar's contribution to water sector. Today is his 135th birth anniversary, and I hope this lecture will honor his memory and mark our appreciation on his contribution to water resource development in India. A little boy who was denied to drink from the common top tap at school went on to make water policy for the entire country as member of the Viceroy's Executive Council, with the key portfolios of irrigation and power, along with labor from 1942 to 1946. It is but natural for this boy to have a different perspective on water, its consumption and use, conservation and management. A perspective of one who had been denied water, not out of water scarcity, but a dearth of humaneness. In Ambedkar's address to the Damodar Valley Scheme Conference in Calcutta, Ambedkar expresses his core conviction, and I quote from Ambedkar, "I hope we shall be guided by the right spirit. Leave aside all sectional points of view and proceed to our business with a determination to open a way to the inauguration of a new policy in regard to our waterways and lay the foundation for a regime of prosperity for the poverty-stricken millions of this country." End quote. I think it's a perfect summary of the mandate of this organization. At the heart of all his policies and in the Constitution of India lay this compassion for the poor, suffering, and excluded humanity. And perhaps this is what made Ambedkar, no, I'm not going there right now. That'll be later. And perhaps this is what gave Ambedkar the extra drive to achieve so much in such a short period of time, and in all fields, in all sectors. Dr. Ambedkar referred to water resources as water wealth, or wealth of the people that should be conserved for the good of the people. He insisted that it was a grave misconception to view excessive quantities of water as a dangerous problem, and advanced conservation of water as mandatory from the point of view of public good. With reference to Orissa, the state that I come from, he said, and I quote, "Given the resources, why has Orissa continued to be so poor, so backward, and so wretched a province? The only answer I can give is that Orissa has not found the best method of utilizing her water wealth," unquote. And I think that is exactly what Mr. Singh said a few minutes ago. Ambedkar's strategy for development of backward areas like Orissa had two main approaches. The first, to increase agricultural production through irrigation, and the second, to produce cheap electric power that would lead to industrialization. And to achieve both, he had a single plan. And that single plan was constructing multi-purpose reservoirs on rivers and a network of navigation canals as an equal mode of transport as the railways. Ambedkar's development strategy finds place in the Government of India's first ever comprehensive plan document for India in the post-Second World War context, when it had to look inwards and plan for its own long-term economic development and recover from the war economy. The plan was called the Reconstruction and Economic Development Plan, and it stated, agriculture was and would remain India's primary industry, but the present imbalance in economy had to be rectified by an intensive development of the country's industries, so that both agriculture and industry could be developed side by side. Ambedkar was also concerned about labor, the new labor, the labor that was employed in the war industry and also the defense personnel, and he needed big projects to re-employ them. So how did Ambedkar, as the Minister for Labor, Irrigation and Power, go about taking the first steps towards a water policy in pre-independent India? This work was particularly challenging as the Government of India Act 1935 had placed both irrigation and electricity completely under the jurisdiction of the provincial governments. We had provinces, we did not have states at that point of time. Ambedkar had to respect the separation of powers between the central and provincial governments and use all his persuasive skills of rationality, eloquence, and experience to convince provincial governments to come together and formulate a common policy in the general interest of the country as a whole. Ambedkar, as member Labour, had to provide the much needed justification to have an all India policy. He insisted on upholding provincial autonomy and called for cooperation between governments, consensus building across differing ideas and opinions of the provincial governments, and collective responsibility of all governments. A huge task for a central minister to get state ministers to agree, put aside all their state objectives and come together and make a national policy, because he did not have the authority to make a national policy. The subject was in the state list. But he did it. And we get a blueprint for policy formulation through cooperative federalism between the central and provincial governments. In the series of conferences held for the development of the multi-purpose river basin project in the Damodar Valley scheme, followed by construction of multi-purpose reservoirs over Orissa's rivers and over other rivers across the country. In the Damodar Valley Conference, Dr. Ambedkar circulated notes to the concerned provincial governments that outlined the methods and procedures by which they would go through the exercise of making policy as equal partners. I was reading the minutes of the conference and I saw step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And he says, step 1, since it was a state subject, he said, the engineer from Bengal, from the province of Bengal, will be in charge of information gathering. And the engineer from the labor ministry, who was the central engineer, would assist him. The tables are turned. Usually, state governments assist central governments. But over here, it's the other way around. He says, and the engineer from Bihar, the chief engineer from Bihar, would also assist the chief engineer from West Bengal. So that was the pattern that he adopted to get through this. And then the second, he says, the plan is going to be made by the center, and all the ICS officers of that time will be the coordinators. They will coordinate between the central and the state governments and all these other bodies. So very interesting way of division of power and responsibility to get the objective. So it doesn't matter which engineer is senior and which one is junior and who has more jurisdiction and power. The conference proceedings record the consolidation of diverse provincial objectives because it is very interesting. The Damodar River is in Bengal. The area that was going to be submerged was in Bihar. And to get them to agree was I think it goes to the credit of Ambedkar to convince both of them to agree to it. And Bengal was interested in flood control, and Ambedkar was interested in making reservoirs. So it was so many different objectives, diverse objectives. So the conference proceedings record the consolidation of diverse provincial objectives, surveys and other data collection exercises, and feasibility studies conducted, the sharing of technical expertise by the central government, and overall coordination by the ICS officers across the central and concerned provincial governments. Within 4 years, and I don't know how long the Bhakra Nangal Dam took, but within 4 years, 1944 to 48, India had taken a giant first step in planning for the development of its water resources in river valleys. Ambedkar knew that in the circumstances, there was a need to develop new instruments for water policies to be executed. He suggested an executive authority that could exercise regional control and management of projects on rivers flowing across multiple states. An authority that could define and develop water and hydroelectric power resources. And finally, an administrative setup with a pool of technical experts that would advise and assist the Government of India in the development of national water policies and provide technical services to the provinces. After much deliberation and consultation with provincial governments, the 3 famous letters to the provinces were issued that led to the institution of the River Valley Authority or Corporation, the adoption of the concept of regional multi-purpose development of river valley basins as a whole, and the establishment of the twin organizations of the Central Waterways Irrigation and National Commission, now known as the Central Water Commission, and the Central Technical Power Board, presently called the Central Electricity Authority of India. The ultimate objective of these organizations was to ensure that the benefits of the project get right down to the grassroots, and all in the project area and in its vicinity have a share in the prosperity which the project should bring. With the creation of these 2 strong technical organizations at the center, Dr. Ambedkar laid the foundation for the development of sound national policies on water and hydroelectricity. Later, as a member of the Constituent Assembly of Independent India, Ambedkar used his legal expertise to the fullest and introduced legislations that made these authorities and organizations statutory bodies. The Damodar Valley Corporation Act 1948 and the Electricity Supply Act 1948 are few notable examples. Dr. Ambedkar, on the basis of his experience of working with provincial governments for the interstate multipurpose river projects, expressed in the Constituent Assembly that the planned development of water resources was essential for the development of India as a whole. He thus introduced certain legal instruments. First, he included the development of interstate waterways for the purpose of flood control, irrigation, navigation, and hydroelectric power as entry 56 of List 1 in the 7th schedule of the Constitution, also called the Union List. At entry 17 of List 2, that is the state list, he placed water, that is to say, water supplies, irrigation and canals, drainage and embankments, water storage, and water power, and he made it subject to the provision of entry 56 of List 1. Further, in Article 262, Clause 1, he empowered the Parliament to adjudicate on matters of interstate river water disputes and complaints through legislation. Ambedkar measured the success of his policies against the human cost. In the case of the mega multipurpose projects, large tracts of land were to be submerged, and displacement of people and their arable lands was inevitable. In the Hirakud Dam Conference, he voiced his concern for the tribal people who did not have the financial acumen to negotiate a fair deal for themselves. Ambedkar set in place a resettlement policy in 1946 that provided the dispossessed cultivators as well as non-cultivating households, please remember, non-cultivating households, payment of full and fair compensation in kind, land for land as far as possible, with adequate housing and other amenities. This policy subsequently formed the base for the steps undertaken for resettlement by state governments. There is no doubt that Ambedkar, with his experience of discrimination, had developed a rational humaneness and a scientific outlook. Otherwise, you can't get over the caste system. You need both humaneness and scientific outlook. Together with his legal acumen and political skill, he could, in a very short time, leave the imprint of his ideas on independent India's emerging water policy. Today, as we go through a set of fast transitioning global climatic conditions marked by extreme weather conditions, increased biodiversity loss, and ecosystem collapses that are critically changing the Earth systems, we are perhaps called to adopt the same rational and scientific outlook that Ambedkar had. And that's exactly what the Secretary said in her opening address, inaugural address, and address the problem of water faced by the poor and vulnerable populations in our country. Thank you. I will now leave you with a small model that the Ambedkar Chair in my institute and the neighboring university, the Exime University. Can I have access to my presentation? And I will just share with you this experiment and this model in which we have been trying to, to address the issue of climate change and groundwater depletion. So, the enter?
No. It will be
Okay.
for next.
Okay. So this approach is a transdisciplinary approach. Again, the secretary today touched all the right chords, and she said, we need to have a multidisciplinary approach. And what we did here was scientists and agriculturists and social workers, management professors, all coming together to build this model. So we are in the age of the Anthropocene, and the age of the Anthropocene is the age of the human being. So there was the age of the dinosaurs once upon a time. Now we are in the age of the human beings. And what have we done? We have air pollution, we have water depletion, we have soil degradation, we have rising temperatures and pollution. I have taken this from the World Bank website. And how do we resolve this? You see, this was a piece of land in the district of Gajapati. It looked like this. And within a year, it looked like this. Yes, you can see the water in the well. It's hardly 4 to 5 feet below the surface. And this was in a year in which Gajapati had 70 cm rainfall and drought had been declared in the district of Gajapati, 2021. Now, if you look at IMD, it always says normal rainfall, normal rainfall. Every year it's normal rainfall. But how do we have drought? It's what Sir was telling, that we have rainfall at the wrong time and we have very intense rainfall and we are unable to trap the water at the right time. This is in my campus in Bhubaneswar. This is our institute campus, and we decided to do this model building there. So the land condition, you can see it was very bad, polluted. Organic carbon was only 0.33. And this was in year 1, the transformation in year 1. This is what it looked like. That's arhar crops and some other crops here. This was year 2, second crop cycle. This is year 3. Now we have horticulture. This was last month. Look at the plants, the health of the plants. Look at the color of the soil. And this was maize, again, last month. So maize, when temperature is 40 degrees now in Bhubaneswar, we have grown maize there. How is it possible? So maize is, yeah, did anyone say? It's amazing. So what was, impact on climate change? Now you just see water. Rainfall in 2016, 40, that's absorption. Huh? Absorption in situ water conservation. By 2019, it was 100% absorption on the field. So what did we do on the field? The water in the well, look at the column height, from 25 to 33 feet in 2019. Soil health, organic carbon from 0.33, it's 0.79 in 2019. Right now, it's crossed 1. Look at pH. pH took some time to stabilize. Right now, it's stable. Look at micronutrients in the soil, from deficient to sufficient. How did this happen? Air temperature. This is why we have maize and other horticultural crops. In the height of summer, we have tomatoes in our field. Temperature we have been able to create a microclimatic condition in which we have been able to control the temperature. What's the science behind it? This is it. This is what Ambedkar also did in all his policies. You have to take care of the weakest. And the weakest life form in the farm, can anyone tell me which is the weakest life form in the farm? Something smaller than the earthworm. Invisible to the eye. just like the poor are invisible to us. The microorganisms. So if you feed the microorganisms, you are going to increase the water retention capacity of the soil. It's just take care of the weakest, take care of the poorest, take care of the neediest. So if you take care of life below the soil, the microorganisms under the soil, you have to feed them. You have to take care of them. There should always be some crop cover. There should always be some grass. There should always be some weed. We don't like weeds. We weed them and throw them, we burn them. They also have their use. And that is what increases the capacity of water, micro life in the soil, helps in herbs and plant growth. Water also helps in herbs and plant growth. You have to increase the on-farm biomass. That is all the green. That is mulch, and that is food for the micro life. It increases the carbon sequestration, increases soil carbon, increases soil health. When soil health increases, water retention capacity of the soil increases. It increases crop yield and nutritional value. It takes care of the balance in the ecosystem. You need diversity in the farm. You need your cows, you need your insects, you need your birds, you need all of them. And all of them need water to survive. And your micro life is also, it comes from your manure, from the cows, and everything is a cycle. That controls your farm temperature. So this is it. This is how you can contribute to reduction of temperature in the farm and ecosystemic level. So this is a small model that I wanted to share with you on how to take care. You have water, abundant water in rainfall, you trap it in your farm, you pump it out whenever you need it and grow your crops. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. A very enriching presentation. In fact, a very very interesting model presented by you for the Gajapati district, which has been supplemented by figures, and it wasn't a theoretical, yeah. So which has been aptly supplemented with figures, facts, and all those interesting material. So now I'll invite our esteemed chairman of Central Water Commission, Dr. M.K. Sinha, to make his address. He doesn't need any introduction. He carries 37 years of very, very enriched experience, both as planning various projects, for example, Siri Salem, Sadar Sarovar, Terry, but also he has blended his academic qualifications with his professional experience. He's been associated with drafting of National Water Policy 2012. He was associated in conceptualizing National Water Mission as a key, implementing agency for Honorable Prime Minister's Action for Climate Change, etc. So a very, renowned personality. Let us hear his thoughts on Ambedkar and, importance in Central Water Commission of the same. Thank you, sir. Please.
Thank you, Devinder. Well, friends, in fact, when the proposal for celebrating the Foundation Day was brought to me, and naturally we are the technical organization, we had that we must have some technical session. What could be the topic? That was the first question. And I suggested that, look, we have to be both, have our firmness in our history. We have illustrious history. So naturally Ambedkar is there. So let us have one session on Ambedkar contribution to water And at the same time, we have to be futuristic also, with our present Prime Minister hoping toward Viksit Bharat, how we are going to it. So that's why the second session is on Viksit Bharat, and both the sessions are going on. I'm really thankful that all of you have stick to it. Of course, history gives us the basis to stand, and that's certainly, in fact, many people just remember. Sometime ago, around 10 years ago, Center Water Commission had a crisis. It's a kind of midlife crisis kind of scenario we also went through, where people, some NGOs got together and thought that Center Water Commission is not doing. Let us reframe it. In fact, at that time, I was director of Center Water and Power Research Station in Pune. That's about century-old organization. And naturally, because I'm also one of the senior officer of Center Water Commission, so at that time, the leaders, Center Water Commission chairman and member called me. Can you find out something where we can pass through this midlife crisis of Center Water Commission and have something? And I literally went through the Center Water and Power Research Station library, which is about 150 years ago. It's a Pune-based institution. Went through all the gazetteers of that time. Thanks to my PhD degree, I had the habit of going through that. And that made me, and I came out with the write-up on Ambedkar contribution to war. And that really gave me a kind of feeling of eureka. Look, here I've got it. Because when people look at, when the NGOs are there, bureaucrats and politicians were almost about to, reformulate it, the Center Water Commission, convert into National Water Commission. That was echoed today also, because the bureaucrats of yesteryears still remember that. But we were wiser in that sense, I must tell you. I came out with that article, gave to my Center Water Commission senior, they had the conference, and that was 125th year of this thing. So the politicians had the very typical problem on the 125th year of Ambedkar Jayanti. How can they change the organization which was set up by Ambedkar? And I'm thankful my labor worked that, and today I'm standing as chairman. Otherwise, I would not have been there.
Congratulations.
Naturally. I told this history because my young friends may not be knowing this is how we have come up so far. We have been able to maintain the identity of Center Water Commission, and naturally I look to my younger generation to keep it forward. And that's why this session, anyway, that's why when people said about ki there's a slot vacant, I said, okay, let me take this session on. It says marching ahead on Ambedkar path of water resources management. What I'm going to present you that how we are progressing ahead. What was recent and we have continued. So our continuation is still relevant, and we are still, of course, dynamics and is always there. We have to upgrade, upskill ourselves, and multidimensional is of course there. But the core strength remains the vision of Ambedkar policy, and that is I am going to take you. In fact, just to say people, of course, I think this is the first session, so maybe a problem. But there should be a TV here also so that the people are there. But
I can go there.
otherwise, as I have gone, you can go there, you can see that part. Well, these two are the important, that how Ambedkar is still relevant in terms of the water sector in our country. Of course, our visionary Prime Minister, this was again in 2016, which I was referring to, 125th year Ambedkar Jayanti. There was during Maritime India Summit, our Prime Minister said so. Many of us may not know that Babas have created two powerful institutions. In fact, I was also not knowing, even though I joined Center Water Commission way back in 88. But till 2016, I was also not knowing that. It's only after going through the gazetteers of the old institution of Center Water and Power Research Institution, I came to know about his minutes and other thing, and then I got educated on that. But our Prime Minister was knowing this, and he said that Dr. Ambedkar is also the architect of water and river navigation policy in India. And second thing is quite recent. In fact, many of us know we had a a very important event in when we started Ken Betwal link project. Interested interly, we were linking project has been on our agenda of Central Water Commission, National Perspective Plan. We were not making much progress. It was during Atal's Prime Ministership that some emphasis was added, which was later on carried again by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And so when this project got take off, in fact now it has already taken off, and during the foundation stone laying of Ken Betwal link project, our Prime Minister referred to Central Water Commission and its role in that. Certainly, it's a matter of pride to all of us, and that's why I quoted that also. That the major river valley projects in India were based on Ambedkar's vision, and the Central Water Commission was also established due to his efforts. As a CWC man, certainly I feel these are the two things which really is important, and that's why I call this to bring it in front in our marching ahead journey in the water sector. In fact, Professor Sasmi Nayak has already given the background of Ambedkar during member of Viceroy Executive Council or another. I won't go much on that, but just a summary of that. In fact, it is a very ironic, very interesting to know that he was member in charge of labor, irrigation, and power. It's very, unique, and that's why, in fact, many of our friends would be knowing why all these three ministries are in one building. That is Sram Shakti Bhavan. People, we go to ministry many a time, but very few people would have remembered and recollect. This is the connection. That's why in Sram Shakti Bhavan, we have the labor ministry, we have the power ministry, as well as the Ministry of Water Resources. Of course, now DOWR. So these are all the history behind it, and that's why I'm presenting all these things. And it's very, in fact, really look at all these are related because all these touch the life of the people very directly, irrigation, power, and the labor. And that's why all these three was put together and in charge of one visionary leader. In fact, there's another part also. That was the time when we got independence, 1947. The World War II had just ended. And there's again, one has to look back in that perspective. For many of the European and other countries, World War II, post-World War II, was only the job of rebuilding what was already existing, replacement of what devastated. But for us, it was an opening, and that was our Jawaharlal Nehru said, when the world sleeps, we are awake. And that was the challenge which we had it. Insofar as the Indian plan, it's not only rehabilitation of defense service personnel, which was important, labor displaced from war industry, and the step for conversion of industry from war to peace. But the bigger challenge was for us, was for reconstruction. And in long-term objective, as we say, it was a plan for economic development of India. So it was not only replacing what was lost, which many European and American countries was there, Japan. For us, it was a plan for economic development. We have to build our nation. That was the challenge. And that's important because these are deep rooted in our next step. That's why, in fact, these are all part of the history that we had immediately after independence. We have the policy committees for economic development in post-India. As I said, that after World War II, the real challenge for our country was economic development. We had become independent at that time. And at that time, the visionary leaders at that time, there were five important subjects are there: irrigation, electric power, hydropower, industries, road and transport, and agriculture. And they have formed the policy committees and the departments at that time. And of course, irrigation and power both have got public works, and electric power and labor department was linked to it. As I've said, all these department directly touches the life of the citizen. That's why put under one.
This is not chaotic. In that time, under labor came law.
Labor law later on. So all these things have been put together. This is called the visionary, and that's why we are standing there. And Ambedkar, a member of the Central Committee, member of the Reconstitution Council of India, RCC, President of the Policy Committee for Irrigation and Power, and also with its official committees, So there was quite a big convergence at that. What we see as a policy in water and power today, and even country's economic development, was the convergence which was important, and it has come because of Ambedkar's personality, that all this important portfolio was put under him. In fact, this is just a 6 facets of economic policy of the Ambedkar's. The first is leadership in policy development, which I have already said. So all the important subjects were put under it. Led the policy committee on irrigation and power. National policy was there. This was a comprehensive policy, though his tenure was 42 to 46, 4 years only. But we had a planned policy for irrigation and power. And this was, of course, the first time we became independent. So this was there. The third important aspect was establishment of COINC. Inauguration also, we heard about it. The Central Waterways Irrigation, Navigation and Commission was there, all related to water. So this was there, of course, the journey. All of you know that this later on became Central Water and Power Commission, and later on became Central Water Commission and Central Electricity Authority. So the technical organization role was also envisaged at that time. The next is regulatory bodies. So more than the technical regulation was also on the agenda. So they put COINC and the Central Technical Board, which is now Central Electricity Authority, precursors to current regulatory bodies. We have both the functions. One of the technical to assist the states in the water resources planning and design, as well as regulatory in terms of their appraisal of the detailed project report, and then the interstate matters. So we have as a Central Water Commission both the functions, technical as well as regulatory also, and this was envisaged from the policies of Dr. Ambedkar. Of course, CWC over the year developed expertise in irrigation, hydropower and flood control, enhancing India's resource management. This again comes, which will be in the next slide I will take you. This was his vision and we have come up to his vision expectation. Ambedkar vision was there. Of course, he argued for a central technical body establishing its objective, structure and program for research. So this is all the many facets of Ambedkar policy on water and power. And this is what I was bringing out. This was his vision and we have come up to that expectation. He visualized, he very openly said in 1945 when the COINC was set up, I visualized that the growth of this body in course of time into a very big organization with its activities spread over the entire length and breadth of India and its assistance, and advised eagerly sought by all provinces and states to the end that the natural resources of any region may be exploited for maximum benefit and unified. This was the vision. And I think the people who are from CWC say each word of it, we have lived up to it. And that gives us this unambiguous vision on this organization, gives a glimpse of its foresightedness for the future of water resources sector in India. And that is why our then water resources minister declared that his birth anniversary we will declare as a water. And that is certainly, we have lived up to his expectation. Certainly, I will take you further such, slides also how we have there. But so far, all his words are there. We are pan-India organization. Each state looks to us. Any technical problem or anything, they come to us. And we provide them the guidance. Of course, there are always ups and downs, but by and large, the states are there. That is what Secretary Madam said. The trust and the faith we should have. The Supreme Court or if there is a Central Water Commission report, Supreme Court blindly agrees and believes it. That is the vision was there and we have come up to. And that gives me a lot of satisfaction. Certainly, I feel this tradition will be carried forward. Of course, 2016, we have discussed as a water. Now, this challenges in water resources planning and management, in fact, Professor Naik also expressed about that both irrigation and electricity have been brought under the jurisdiction of provincial government. Like as we say always, water is a state subject. So that was the challenge at that time was. But because of his vision and his exposure in worldwide international constitutions and other things, he realized that it has been the experience of other countries. With federal constitution, the constituent states of which enjoy a measure of autonomy far greater than that enjoyed by the provinces. In fact, the federal constituent in America, Europe, are much more independent and autonomous than the states in India. But there also the experience is that for the purpose of economic development, they have to come together and formulate a common policy in this general interest of the country as a whole. So he has brought it because of he has the knowledge and experience of all the constitution and all the countries. So he linked up that even those countries where the provincial governments are much more autonomous, even they have realized that coming together common resources is the only option. Certainly we also have to have the similar policies. And that is why the central government, naturally it must have come from his recommendation only, that although it was necessary, the planning to be effective should be on all India basis. Even for provincial subjects, it is intended to achieve this objective by means of adjustment, agreements and cooperation with provincial and state governments. No wonder we had 450 water agreements during that time. Now you see, even a single thing bringing states together becomes very difficult. But this was the realization at that time. And the Central Water Commission maintains all the interstate agreement. We have around over 450 agreements. Thanks to that, still today, we are able to eat because of those policies which was done at that time. In fact, I have the association privilege of being associated with National Water Policy much later. But you see the convergence, and that is really ironical. I didn't know this is happening. So, it's coincidental also that in 2012, when we took up all multi-stakeholder consultation, right from the members of parliament, members of legislative assembly, teachers, professors, even state engineers and other, and they all converge on one policy direction which is there, that planning, development and management of water resources need to be governed by common integrated perspective considering local, regional, state and national context. See the similarity and the two part. Naturally, I'm an engineer, so may not have much social science background and others. But when we consulted the nation in all different levels, the convergence was there. And that is what the policy document it is there. So the policy which was envisaged in 1942 and reiterated in 2012 has the same echo that we need to have a common integrated perspective considering local, regional as well as the national perspective on. These are some statement on irrigation and policy which many of our friends should be doing. Has echoed in our national water policy also. Irrigation's role in agriculture, no doubt everybody knows about it. And that's why irrigation in all the states are very important. It's most important subject at the state level because it is essential for enhancing food supply and ensuring agriculture production. In fact, the states which has focused on irrigation has reaped its great benefits. The states like Madhya Pradesh, even the newly formed Telangana, is also all revolving around one thing, irrigation. Even so-called Gujarat model of development relies more on Narmada water. That's again the water resource. So water is the key to all the states' development, and that's why its role is there. And that was envisaged by him at that time only. Of course, we have the benefit of learning from experiences, having so many statistics available to all of us. But without that, his vision was there, he realized, because he was from the man from the ground. So he knew these are vital for it. Now, second important is waterway development. That's also very important. We have not been able to do much in the country, but that is not my field is not there. But that was also considered in terms of waterways also is important. And that we certainly take care of it in our own planning also. When we talk of integrated water resources development, we do consider navigation also as a very important one. Major and medium irrigation schemes are also vital too for the cultivation linked to that only. There is another thing, increased use of pumps. This was there. In fact, of course, this is in terms of the hydropower. But I have, prior to by coming as a chairman CWC, I was working in Godavari River Management Board. And the pumps has been used for the large scale lift irrigation projects in India. The success story of Telangana which many people would be knowing, is because of the lift irrigation. So this was envisaged at that time also, the pumps are important for the irrigation system, and it has been proved also in the state of Telangana. If you see the history of Telangana in last 10 years, because of the lift irrigation, the barriers of the gravity were broken, the water could be provided to much higher lands, and that is why the Telangana growth has developed. I mean, they have increased, their per capita income is 3 times, 1 point of the national average, the growth average is much more than the GDP of the country. And that is all because of the pumps. So the vision which was there, I'm realizing now, but that was thought at that time. And that's why our policies are like that. Regional project consideration was also there. Many projects may be considered on a regional basis, and that's why we are talking of some sort of a national project or regional project, like many mega projects like Sardar Sarovar, Tehri, even Polavaram project now are not being looked at as only a state project, but more of as a national project also. Again, the root of that consideration has come from Ambedkar's policy. Financial assistance for projects. I mean, this was thought even at that time. We had the accelerated irrigation benefit program, lot of central assistance is there. And that was realized at that time that we need to handle them. The states, by being, in fact, it has been accepted also by all the states. The central fund may be very minimum in magnitude, but it has a catalytical role. So by the very fact that they get included their projects under AIPP or even now Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, they get the state funds here also much more. So the central assistance acts as like a catalytic role, certainly much needed for the irrigation and power sector in the state level. Then detailed project proposal is also very important to be formed. And so he said that, of course, a questionnaire will be sent to assess provincial and state project proposals. Still, this is being followed. In our DPR guidelines, there's a whole list of questionnaires, and many of those questions relate to that time policy directions, which are there in the minutes of the Ambedkar speeches and other things. The expert scrutiny of proposal, as I have referred to, appraisal by the Central Water Commission. This is what is realized, that we need to help the states in making their project, but at the same time we require them to be scrutinized at the same time. And so he entrusted the Central Water Commission at that time. We are still doing the project appraisal process. In fact, many of the states have conveyed, they feel sometimes frustrated, also too much time taken, but at the end of the day, I've been interacting with most of the states. They say the suggestion which we get from CWC engineers are wonderful. They follow, and that's the benefit of. So even we, in a way, kind of grill them, and many people have complained also. But at the end, they realize that the project proposal, which comes after the scrutiny of CWC, is much better proposal, and they appreciate it. Appointment of consulting engineers is, of course, was there, Central Water Commission. One of the role of chairman and member of the Central Water Commission to act as a consulting engineer. That's why any recommendation coming from any of the states or any query, we can't say what is the state subject you do. No, we are duty bound to look into their problem, assist them, and provide them solution. And of course, we are coming nowadays because all the good, better sites are gone. Now we get more and more challenging tasks only. But I'm really happy that our engineers are always up to that. They are given very challenging tasks to us, the states, but we always come out with solutions. I think never be it has come that we have said, no, we can't solve it. We have always come out with a solution. All these policy statements which I have listed are relevant today also in the course of Central Water Commission, and very much, relevant today also. And that's very there. In fact, Mr. Nag also referred to 3 famous letters to the President, the 3 issues, and these were there. Adoption of a concept of River Valley Authority, this was, the 3 letters was there. Of course, I have to do some more research to get those original letters. But these are the letters, the summary of these were there. One is about the River Valley Authority, then another is about the regional and multi-purpose development, and the third thing, of course, was the queen. And In spite of that, our country has become independent. We have got so many provinces and other things. But as Patels have brought all of them together, I think Patel brought them together in a physical form. Ambedkar brought them on a kind of a mental faith. And that's why there was a total consensus on these three topics. And that's why we are seeing those things happening. The quink is already there. This is also multi-purpose is there, which if we see, our policy for water resource development must be multi-purpose policy, and so as to include all possible uses of water. And I see the coincidence, this was done at that time, and it's still national water policy also reaches the same language that all water resource projects should be planned to the extent which will have multi-purpose project with provision of storage to derive maximum benefit from available topology and water resources. I mean, this is a very unique synergy which is there. And that is what I thought I should bring it in my lecture so that my officers are aware of this synergy and the continuity on the vision of Ambedkar and our policies which are there. We are actually standing on his visions and furthering on that ground. Then another, of course, his policy vision was on additional storage capacity also. You see, water being the wealth of the people and distribution being uncertain, approach is not to complain against nature, but to conserve water. So water conservation was thought at that time also. Even today, Jal Sanchay, Jan Bhagidari, I mean, all these yojanas are actually have the roots from his vision only. So even the food FAO and other storage capacity also has realized this key storage capacity need to be augmented. And so our policy also says so. Key the climate change, anticipated increase in variability in availability of water because of climate change should be dealt with by increasing water storage in its various forms, including all types of forms, soil moisture, ponds, groundwater, small and large as well, their communication. The crux is the same, key storage is the key to this. This was envisaged during Ambedkar time, reiterated even during other course, mid-course also. We are realizing on the same thing also. Then river basin organizations, of course, in the inauguration, Dr. Sarkar also touched upon River Basin Board Act and Interstate Water Dispute Act. This was also thought at that time also, Damodar Valley project and Hirakud has already, Professor Nayak also touched upon these things. But all these, if you see River Board Act, National Water Policy, they're all reiterating the same thing. There's a quite synergy and echoing the same thing, that river basin and sub-basin should be as a unit for planning, development and management of water resources, and river basin organizations should be there. In fact, we have a draft river basin management bill also pending under consideration. We hope as Water for All has come up and we have a Jal Jeevan Mission one day, I think the government of the country realize it and river basin board will be set up for all the river basins. This is there. That's why these policies are there. We are by and large not exactly as a river basin, but indirectly we are having river boards in another way, like Damodar Valley Corporation, Bhakra Vyas Management Board, Tungabhadra Board, Ganga Flood Control Commission, Betwa River Board, Brahmaputra Board, Narmada Control Authority, Sardar Sarovar Construction by Upper Yamuna River Board, Krishna River Management Board, Godavari River. This whole set of boards are primarily the inter-river boards, even though we have not put it as a river board organization, but they are existing in one form. And I am hopeful that sometime the government will formalize it and institutionalize through acts of parliament. The rehabilitation and resettlement policy, of course, Professor Nayak also has touched upon that there is a need for proper R&R plan for the project affected families. This was thought of at that time, and this was already implemented in the Damodar Valley Corporation now. In fact, I have seen myself also in Sardar Sarovar also. One of the good rehabilitation policy was adopted there. Even there's a documentary also which is available in the damned but not damned. The people have been uprooted, but their life is better off. So these are there. Now, of course, we have the right to fair compensation and transparency in land acquisition. That Land Acquisition Act has been modified in 2013 and that is being followed. The emphasis of proper R&R policy was laid down during Ambedkar time and still we are continuing with this part. That's why I call it the title, it Marching Ahead on the Ambedkar Vision. That was the title of them. The technical bodies at the center again, the vision of Ambedkar was there, this growth of this body in course of time into a big organization, activities over all over India, and that's still there. Center Water Commission is there with a huge manpower and the field all over India. We are in position, and the states always come to us for guidance and we provide them. The technical body set up by Dr. Ambedkar Center provided an alternative solution to state central problems. Otherwise, we see always interstate councils only. On the technical front, we are providing that kind of assistance, and we are there. And Center Water Quink and Center Technical Power Board, in terms of Center Electricity Authorities, are the standing organizations of national status, which are there working with the states on the important subjects of irrigation and power. Again, here, national perspective is always kept in mind whenever we give the opinion of the state. National perspective always is kept in view, and new and emerging technologies are always adopted in that. Interbasin transfer of water. I mean, this is, we feel it is a new subject, but no, it was thought at that time. The need of interbasin transfer was felt at that time also, and they said also during Odisha that excessive quantity of water is not in again, but needs to be done to how to utilize it properly for the beneficial is this perennial source of water. And this was, we said, of course, we worked further on that, and we came out with the national perspective plan. And as I've said, the first interstate linking, Ken-Betwa river link, is already being grounded. The construction work has already started. Of course, his work was on 4 years. No work has actually done, but he has laid the foundation for almost all the things which I've enumerated. I have given all the enough examples that whatever we are doing has the roots from that time, and this has come. And so even interbasin transfer also is there. Now already one has started, many more are in the pipeline. You will see the present government is very serious about interbasin transfer, and more projects are likely to be inaugurated very soon on that part. In conclusion, I will just summarize the things. He advocates for equitable distribution, which is there, of course, the Satyagraha was being referred, multi-purpose river development, community involvement, key water initiative, and center of 24 water resources. All the 5 pillars of his vision is already in place, and which is being followed by Center Water Commission. At the end, BO on his 135th anniversary, the Center Water Commission owes itself to the founding vision of B.R. Ambedkar. Our 75th celebration also was in terms of B.R. Ambedkar. Today we are at 80th, the projects, and that was of 2016 when it was declared by the Union Minister, the Ambedkar Jayanti will be there. So in coming year, of course, many of the my secretary and minister says that why you celebrate this thing only on holidays, but we can't help it because the government always declares 14th as a holiday.
It's an observation day. Not the one.
No, not, but later on they always do. If you see, they don't announce it in the beginning, but later on around 10th of April, you will always get the DOPT order declared. But anyway, we owe ourselves to him, so certainly we can't dissociate by saying so separately. So I have told them that we will continue to celebrate, and I certainly look forward to my younger friends to carry forward this mission. Thank you. If anyone has any query, otherwise, of course, you can approach me anytime. There is no need to use this time. I think you can carry on.
Thank you, sir, for such an excellent outlook, building a very strong synergy between what Dr. Ambedkar thought and how we are progressing on that thoughts. Sir, now our next speaker will be Mr. Anil Chamadia. He's a senior journalist. A very brief introduction. He says that no armchair journalist, writing since 1991 for Times of India, has worked in TV1 first 24-hour news channel. He's also trainer in various, mass media courses, for example, Jamia Millia, IAMC, etc. So over to you, Chowde sir. You may start your address.
केंद्रीय जल बोर्ड के साथियों, जल कमीशन आयोग के साथियों, आपने आज डॉक्टर अंबेडकर और पानी विषय पर ये बातचीत रखी और मैं समझता हूं कि ये बहुत जरूरी विषय है, इस पर बातचीत होनी चाहिए, जो कि मुझे लगता है कि ठहरी हुई है बातचीत इस पर। आपके आयोग ने 1993 में 1993 में किताब छापी थी और शायद वो पहली बार ये जानकारी मिली लोगों को कि डॉक्टर अंबेडकर का जो वाटर रिसोर्सेस है, वाटर है, इरिगेशन है, इलेक्ट्रिक जो पावर सेटअप है पूरा, उससे उसका कोई रिश्ता रहा है। इसीलिए मैं समझता हूं कि एक लाइन जो अपनी मैं कह के आगे अपनी बात रखूंगा कि इतिहास ईंधन होता है, एनर्जी होती है इतिहास में, और अगर ईंधन दूषित है, पोल्यूटेड है, एनर्जी पोल्यूटेड है, तो डेवलपमेंट आपका पोल्यूटेड होगा। ईंधन कैसे साफ हो ये इतिहास तय करता है। इसीलिए ये बात बहुत जरूरी है कि हम बहुत इस पर अच्छी तरह बात करें। ठहरी हुई है बात, और जो ठहरी हुई है मैं आपको वो बात आगे बताना चाहता हूं। पहले एक आपके सामने एक सिनेरियो क्रिएट करता हूं। जैसे हम लोग वाटर रिसोर्सेस के लिए, जो सोर्सेस के लिए जो वर्ड्स यूज करते हैं, जो शब्द यूज करते हैं, जिसको बुलाते हैं, जैसे नदी, पोखर, तालाब, नल, कुआं, हैंडपंप, झील, झरना, यानी ये पानी के इस्तेमाल की जितने लहरें हैं, अगर उनको आप एक विजुलाइज करें तो केवल इसमें पानी नजर नहीं आएगा आपको। हैंडपंप जब आप बोलेंगे तो इसमें एक सोसाइटी का एक हिस्सा नजर आएगा। नल जब बोलेंगे तो एक सोसाइटी का हिस्सा नजर आएगा। ये केवल रिसोर्सेज नहीं है, सोर्सेज नहीं है, केवल ये सोसाइटी के एक हिस्से के साथ जुड़े हुए हैं। आखिर में पानी है क्या? पानी के बारे में ही क्यों डॉक्टर अंबेडकर ज्यादा बेचैन हो रहे हैं, परेशान हो रहे हैं? क्या वजह है? ठीक उसी तरह जैसे आप कह लीजिए कि गांधी नमक को लेकर सत्याग्रह कर रहे हैं। बेसिक एलिमेंट, बेसिक जरूरत हमारी, क्यों ऐसा है? क्या डॉक्टर अंबेडकर के अनुभव में यह ना होता कि उनको स्कूल में पानी पीने के लिए कितनी जिल्लतें झेलनी पड़ती है, पानी नहीं मिलता है, तो क्या वो महाड़ करते 1927 में? महाड़ कोई किसी का प्राइवेट प्रॉपर्टी नहीं थी। महाड़ जो था वो सार्वजनिक तालाब था, और उसके जो उस पर एक पत्थर जो खुदा हुआ था, उसमें लिखा था महाड़ नगर पालिका 1899, 1899, 1899। कोई प्राइवेट प्रॉपर्टी नहीं थी, लेकिन उस पर आदेश किसका चलता था? सोसाइटी के एक हिस्से का उस पर आदेश चलता था। किसके लिए आदेश चलता था? सोसाइटी के एक बड़े हिस्से के लिए उसका आदेश चलता था कि यहां आना भी नहीं, इसके पानी को छूना भी नहीं है। पानी आप कहने को कह सकते हैं, रहीम का दोहा आप गा लीजिए, या बहुत सारी आपकी दोहे या कहावतें आ जाएंगी कि पानी जहां पहुंचा वहां तो विकास हो जाएगा। नहीं, पानी तबाही भी लाता है। ये कहावतों में और कुछ दोहों में बात नहीं हो सकती, वो ठहरी हुई बात है। इससे थोड़ा आगे हमको निकलना होगा, और मैं आज कोशिश करूंगा कि मैं आपको थोड़ी सी बात इस पे करूं। अब जैसे मान लीजिए कि पानी को लेकर आपका क्या नजरिया है, ये कहां से तय होता है? क्या सबका नजरिया एक जैसा है? एक बड़ा दिलचस्प अध्ययन हुआ यहां, एक बहुत दिलचस्प इंटरेस्टिंग, यही सुधारती है सपना चमड़िया, उन्होंने किया क्या किया कि फिल्मों में पानी को लेकर किस तरह से डायरेक्टर्स जो हैं वो पानी को सिंबलाइज कर रहे हैं, किस तरह से पानी का को वो पिक्चराइजेशन उनका कर रहे हैं। और 2 फिल्में उन्होंने इसके अपने पेपर के बेस में बनाया, फेंड्री फेंड्री और सैराट, ये मराठी फिल्म है। आप जब उस फिल्म में देखें आप कि फिल्मों में पानी को किस तरह से समाज का कौन हिस्सा इस्तेमाल कर रहा है, किस रूप में कर रहा है, तो आपको ये पता चलेगा कि ये पानी का जो सवाल है वो कितना गहरा सवाल है, कितना पॉलिटिकल सवाल है, कितना सोशल सवाल है, कितना इकोनॉमिकल सवाल है और कितना कल्चरल सवाल है। हमारे देश में पानी आंदोलन राजनीतिक और सामाजिक आंदोलन की धुरी बनती है, जैसे नमक बना। गांधी ने नमक पर सत्याग्रह किया और आज हम लोग 15 अगस्त 1947 मना रहे हैं हर साल। नमक पर क्या था? नमक पर क्यों, नमक पर क्या करने गए वो? नमक में क्या हो रहा था? नमक में कंट्रोल था। किसका कंट्रोल था? जो उस समय की जो हुकूमत थी उसका कंट्रोल था, पॉलिटिकल कंट्रोल, सोशल कंट्रोल, इकोनॉमिक कंट्रोल उस पर था। ठीक उसी तरह से पानी पे कंट्रोल, पानी पे कंट्रोल के खिलाफ पहले स्कूल में जद्दोजहद, फिर महाड़, और फिर जब मौका मिला, जो बहुत सारे जितने भी हमने स्पीकर्स को सुने आपके इनॉग्रेशन के सेशन से लेकर और अभी तक, सबने एक तरह की एक फैक्ट रखे। 1942 टू 1946 कैसे वो वायसरॉय की जो एग्जीक्यूटिव थी उसके मेंबर के तौर पर उन्होंने पब्लिक वर्क्स और लेबर का जो पूरा डिपार्टमेंट था, का जो एरिया था, उसमें कैसे डॉक्टर अंबेडकर ने अपने विजन को इंप्लीमेंट करने की कोशिश की। कहां की? तो महाराष्ट्र में थे, महाराष्ट्र में महाड़ चला रहे थे, महाड़ का आंदोलन किया उन्होंने। कहां आए? वो आए बंगाल। वो कहां गए? उड़ीसा। वो कहां गए? पटना। ये जो ईस्टर्न पूरा इलाका है, क्यों गए यहां? वहां जिस तरह की तबाही मची, जितनी तबाही अगर इंडियन हिस्ट्री में आप देखें कि जितनी बाढ़ से तबाही हुई, पानी की वजह से जितनी तबाही हुई, शायद देश के दूसरे और बड़े हिस्सों में नहीं हुई है जितना उस हिस्से में हुई है। आज भी आपके CWC की वेबसाइट पे मिल जाएगा कि हर बार के फ्लड में कितना नुकसान होता है, और वो ग्रेजुअली बढ़ता जा रहा है। लास्ट ईयर का शायद मैंने देखा 60,000 करोड़ का। इसका क्या मतलब है? आखिर में क्या लैग कर रहा है, क्या कमी हो रही है? नदियां मर रही हैं। अब तो हम वाटर रिसोर्सेज को बचाने के लिए, या वाटर के कैसे हम एक रिसोर्सेज के रूप में इस्तेमाल करें, इस पर डॉक्टर अंबेडकर के विजन की हम बात कर रहे हैं। लेकिन आज फैक्ट क्या है कि आज नदियां मर रही हैं, बहुत सारी नदियां लगभग मर चुकी हैं। डॉक्टर अंबेडकर के बारे में दरअसल जब हम बात कर रहे हैं तो एक पहलू जो छूट जा रहा है कि उनका जो विजन था, उनमें जो एनर्जी थी, उसका सोर्स क्या है। उन्होंने प्रोफेसर नायक ने कोट किया एक कॉन्फ्रेंस में, डॉक्टर अंबेडकर ने जो अपने एम को जिस तरह से एक्सप्लेन किया लोगों के बीच में, एम केवल वो सेटअप खड़ा करना उनका एम नहीं था, कहां जाना है, कहां पहुंचना है, वो एम था। टेक्निकल कोई सेटअप करना ही एम नहीं था ना उनका, तो सोसाइटी में कहां पहुंचना है, किसके पास पहुंचना है। मैं उस कोटेशन की 2-3 और लाइनें जो रह गई थी, मैं उस पर वो मैं आपको कोट करूंगा, लेकिन उससे पहले जो मैं बात जो कहना चाह रहा हूं, थोड़ा पानी दीजिए। 1993 में पहली बार क्यों डॉक्टर अंबेडकर को याद किया गया? CWC ने एक 300 मोर देन 300 पेजेस की किताब निकाली। मुझे नहीं पता कि आप लोग इसमें से कितने लोग अवेयर हैं। बहुत सारे लोग अवेयर नहीं होते हैं, और ये बात मैं कोई अपनी ओर से नहीं कह रहा हूं। किताबें छाप दिया आपने, या मान लीजिए एक आपने प्रोग्राम कर लिया, एक फॉर्मेलिटी हो गई? नहीं, ये आपको नीचे तक, जिसको डॉक्टर अंबेडकर भी कहते हैं कि जो हम ये ढांचा बना रहे हैं, वो नीचे तक जाना चाहिए। ठीक उसी तरह से ये जो रिश्ता है पानी, डॉक्टर अंबेडकर का पानी के साथ, ये बात नीचे तक जानी चाहिए। 300 पेज की किताब छपने के बाद एक हमारे दोस्त थे AK विश्वास, अभी लास्ट मंथ वो गुजर गए। बिहार में चीफ सेक्रेटरी रैंक पर वो गए। वो मुजफ्फरपुर में जो यूनिवर्सिटी थी, यूनिवर्सिटी है बाबा साहब भीमराव अंबेडकर यूनिवर्सिटी, उसके वो VC भी कुछ दिन रहे थे। वो लिखते हैं 93 के बाद 2003 में वो DVC में गए, और DVC में एक इंजीनियर से उन्होंने पूछा, उनको इनवाइट करने आए थे, बात करने आए थे, तो पूछा कि क्या आप जानते हैं कि डॉक्टर अंबेडकर का DVC के साथ दामोदर वैली कॉरपोरेशन के साथ क्या रिश्ता है? वो इंजीनियर है, DVC में है, और हमने सुन लिया कि DVC का फाउंडेशन किस तरह से पड़ा, लेकिन वो इंजीनियर जानते ही नहीं थे कुछ, बिल्कुल उनको जानकारी में नहीं थी। 2003 के बाद फिर वो DVC के चेयरमैन से मिलने 2016 में गए। ये सब AK विश्वास ने मुझे बताया, और फिर उन्होंने कहीं लिखा भी इसको। AK विश्वास से चूंकि मेरी बातचीत अक्सर होती थी, हफ्ते 10 दिन में खूब हम लोग बातें करते थे, और बहुत ही मतलब उनके जो रिसर्च की जो मेथोडोलॉजी है, जो रिसर्च की जो आर्टिकल्स आप पढ़ेंगे, बहुत सारे न्यूज़पेपर्स, ये बहुत सारे जर्नल्स में, खासतौर से मेन स्ट्रीम में आपको वो कुछ उनके आर्टिकल्स मिलेंगे, बहुत ही अच्छे आर्टिकल। फिर वो 2016 में 2016 में फिर गए और DVC में के चेयरमैन से मिले, क्योंकि उनकी एक और इच्छा थी कि डॉक्टर अंबेडकर का जो पूरे वाटर रिसोर्सेज के साथ जो पूरा देश में रिश्ता है, इस पर थोड़ा और डीपली कुछ काम किया जाए। तो उन्होंने पूछा जाकर उनसे कि DVC में क्या डॉक्टर अंबेडकर से रिलेटेड कोई चीज मुझे मिल सकती है क्या? तो कहा डॉक्टर अंबेडकर से रिश्ता DVC, अच्छा तो मैं दिखवाता हूं लाइब्रेरी में। लाइब्रेरियन को बुलाया, लाइब्रेरियन लौट के आए, खोजबीन की, 1 दिन लगा, 2 दिन लगा, जो भी लगा, और फिर AK विश्वास को चेयरमैन ने यह बताया कि उनकी लाइब्रेरी में कोई चीज उपलब्ध नहीं है। ये सब कुछ बातें लिखी हुई हैं, लिखी हुई हैं। तो मैं ये बात आपसे कहने की कोशिश कर रहा हूं कि आखिर में आप इतिहास को एक फॉर्मेलिटी के तौर पर क्यों नरेट करते हैं? वो एक तरह का ईंधन है, एनर्जी है, और उसको केवल आप एक फॉर्मेलिटी के रूप में इस्तेमाल नहीं कर सकते। क्यों नहीं कर सकते और नहीं करना चाहिए? क्योंकि जो मेजर कंसर्न है, जैसे मान लीजिए वो कहते हैं, जिनको जो कोट करने की बात मैं कर रहा था, वो कहते हैं कि जहां आप डेवलपमेंट के काम कर रहे हैं, ये स्ट्रक्चर सब खड़ा कर रहे हैं, डैम बना रहे हैं, पावर जनरेट कर रहे हैं, तो वहां के जो लोग हैं उनकी स्थिति थोड़ी थोड़ी नहीं बल्कि बेहतर होनी चाहिए, और इक्वलिटी की तरफ हमको इक्वल एक स्टेटस बने, जो कंस्टिट्यूशन हमारा का एम हम डिक्लेयर करते हैं, वो उनको मिले। लेकिन मैं लगातार अक्सर मैं वैसे इलाकों में जाता रहा और लिखता रहा हूं जो इलाके बहुत ही डिप्राइव्ड और जिसको कह लें कि आप बहुत बैकवर्ड्स माने जाते हैं। आप जितने भी ईस्टर्न जोन में ये जितने भी इलाके हैं उसमें मुझे लगता है कि सबसे ज्यादा जो हिस्सा है वो आदिवासियों का हिस्सा है, आदिवासी हैं जिनको आप शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब कहते हैं। और उसमें मैंने देखा है कि जितने भी डेवलपमेंट के प्रोजेक्ट्स वहां आए, खासतौर से वाटर रिसोर्सेज से जुड़े हुए, उसमें कोई में नहीं, मतलब कह सकता हूं एक्सेप्शन हो सकता है कि सारे जगहों के लोग जो हैं वो आज भी उनकी जो स्थिति है वो बेहतर नहीं है। ये खासतौर से ये आपके झारखंड के जो इलाके हैं, जो दामोदर वैली के आगे के इलाके, उसमें बहुत सारे डैम बने, तो इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि डेवलपमेंट तो हो रहा है, आप फॉर नेशन तो कह दे रहे हैं, लेकिन जो मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द पीपुल है ऑफ द नेशन, उसके हिस्से में वो नहीं आ पा रहा है। क्यों नहीं आ पा रहा है, ये एक बड़ा सवाल मुझे लगता है कि हमारे सामने है। तो मैं ये समझता हूं कि एक तो ये बात जो मुझे जरूरी बात लगी कि डॉक्टर अंबेडकर को बहुत केवल टेक्निकली चीजों को समझने की कोशिश न करें, बल्कि एक जो पूरा जो सोशल जो पूरा सिनेरियो है उसको ध्यान में हम लोग रखें, तभी शायद बहुत सारे जो चीजें पीछे छूट जा रही हैं उनके विजन के हिसाब से, शायद उसको हम लोग एड्रेस कर पाए। तो एक तो पहली बात तो ये, दूसरी बात ये कि ये बात तो मैं बंद कर देता हूं। थैंक यू वेरी मच। को नहीं बोला, एक मिनट कीजिए। नो मथुरिया साहब, नो, मेरा ही प्रिपरेशन नहीं है। नहीं, सॉरी, वेरी सॉरी, मेरी आदत नहीं है। नहीं, मैं नहीं कंटिन्यू कर, मैं इसको लाइक ही नहीं करता, आई डोंट लाइक।
आपसे एक बार और मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा, आप कंटिन्यू कर लीजिए।
बात खत्म करें, आपके पास टाइम का दबाव है। सुनिए, देखिए, मैं हूँ मास कम्युनिकेशन का टीचर, और मैं जानता हूँ कि एक टेम्परामेंट, एक माहौल बनता है सुनने सुनाने का, और इसमें थोड़ी सी भी अगर आप सुराग पैदा कर देंगे तो डिसकंटिन्यू हो जाए।
एनीवे, मैं शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ चावटिया साहब का कि आप आए और आपने अपने विचारों से हमें अवगत कराया। हालांकि हम पूरे सेमिनार और पूरे प्रोग्राम में कुछ समय का अभाव रहा, तो इस वजह से थोड़ा सा आपको एक मैसेज दिया था। एनीवे, हमारे आज के जो थीमेटिक सेशंस में वी हैड वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग डिस्कशंस। हमारे 3 स्पीकर्स, प्रोफेसर नायक, चेयरमैन डॉक्टर M.K. सिन्हा, और हमारे श्री अनिल चावड़िया साहब जो सीनियर जर्नलिस्ट हैं। We had very different perspectives on 3 different aspects। बिल्कुल एक एकेडमिक बेसिस पर जिन्होंने अंबेडकर जी के कार्य, उनकी थॉट्स और उन पर जो रिसर्च किया, एक वो रिसर्च वाला आयाम हमारे सामने आया। हम इंजीनियर्स उन रिसर्च, उन आइडियाज को ग्राउंड पर कैसे रूट करते हैं, उसका एक विविध विवरण चेयरमैन साहब के एड्रेस के जरिए मिला। और एक मीडिया में, सामाजिक परिवेश में उनके विचारों को कैसे आगे अभिभूत कर सकते हैं, ये एक दूसरा आयाम। तीसरा आयाम था जो चामाडिया साहब के द्वारा प्रदान किया, मैं तीनों स्पीकर्स का, तीनों हमारे एमिनेंट स्पीकर्स का बहुत बहुत आभार व्यक्त करना चाहूँगा, थैंक्स देना चाहूँगा कि वे आए और हमें अपने विचारों से अवगत कराया। और इस थीमेटिक सेशन को जो बड़ा ही इंटरेस्टिंग रहा, ज्ञानवर्धक रहा हम सभी कोलीग्स के लिए, हम सभी मित्रों के लिए, बहुत बहुत आभार प्रदान करना चाहूँगा। और इस सेशन को यहीं क्लोज करेंगे हम लोग। और बिफोर फॉर्मल क्लोजर, एक विल बी प्रेजेंटिंग मेमेंटोज टू आवर पैनलिस्ट्स। आई विल रिक्वेस्ट हमारे मेंबर D&R भोपाल सिंह सर to present memento to Professor Nayak. Madam, please.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, memento to Chairman sir also. A memento to our Mr. Anil Chamadia sir also. And I'll take this opportunity to present a memento to our member D&R, who has set the tone and context for today's thematic session. With this, we will formally close this thematic session. For the lunch, the provision for the lunch has been made for the guests at the first floor, and for others, it is on the ground floor. So all of us can join for the lunch. Many, many thanks. Thank you.